Welcome to The Author Show, where we feature new authors and books, from fiction to self-help and everything in between. You'll find it all at theauthorshow.com. That's theauthorshow.com. And now let the show begin.
Hello and welcome back to the show. This is your host, Don McCauley. Today we're welcoming program author Claudette Milner, and she is the author of Children of Plains Estates, Become Change Agents, Volume 8. Before I bring in today's guest, a quick reminder, the selected interviews are available at our website, as well as on major platforms like Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, and many more. Claudette, how are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you?
Good. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
I am a seasoned senior. I went to college and now I am retired. I'm a retired writer, which is my sole profession at this time.
So tell us about your book.
Children of Plains Estates, Become Change Agents is the 8th volume of the series. Now, Children of Plains Estates series was first published in 2004. So this has spanned over 20 years. And when asked why, it's because I was working. And once I retired, I was able to expedite the volumes of the books. It is a culmination of characters that are diverse and also inclusive. It was written because I wanted teenagers to know that we hear their voice and that we respond to it. Because many times teenagers go through things as in alcoholism, as in not being accepted, mental health, and various different normalities. And at 60, they still have the same issues because nobody ever heard their voice and they never healed from the events.
Now, who did you write your book for specifically? Who's your target audience here?
My target audience is teenagers, but I started at the age of 11 because I got feedback from 4th graders, 5th graders. One parent said, I read your book overnight. So because of that, I lowered it to 11, but I do ask for parents to read it first because it does cover controversial issues. I put it at a max of 18 because most of the characters are still in high school. Now, in this particular volume, we do have teenagers that are going off to college. So it still remains in the teenage young adult. I think they call it now coming of age. So if you're coming of age, the book is also appropriate for you.
So could you say there's any type of central message or perhaps underlying theme that you would say runs throughout your book?
Throughout the book is we hear your voice. And the reason I say that is because we cover bullying, we cover the pandemic, we cover the change in mental health. And because we cover so many issues, bullying, sexual molestation, I want teenagers to understand two things. One, that we are listening and seeking help. And we also want them to know, I in particular want them to know that God loves them, that He created each of them as individuals, and He has a plan for their life.
So if you had to choose, what would you say is the single most important idea you're sharing in your book that's really going to add value to the reader's life?
The most important thing that I am sharing is that you are an individual created by God. You have the power to define your own future. The future that you want, not by what everybody else thinks, but you can use that, your education, your skills, your plan to make a difference in this world in whatever way that you choose. And that's why some of these young people are choosing global warming. Some are choosing the right to vote. Some are choosing anti-Semitism and the protest against it. So that's what I want young people to take into consideration and to take with them, that they have the power to change their world and their generation.
So if you were asked to compare your book with any book out there we might already be familiar with, which book would it be and why?
This book is anti-racist, 20 lessons on how to wake up, take action, and do the work, empower the future. And it's by Tiffany Jewell. People will remember it because it was on Oprah Book Club list. This book starts at an earlier age. And the reason I suggest it is because it deals head on with racism. It identifies racism, origin, and solutions. But it stops there. It doesn't challenge the reader to discuss issues that are prevalent right now. The protests, the Gaza war, the pandemic. Those are things that I discussed within this particular book. And this book is like a prenatal to the ideas of the Children of Plains Estate series.
Can you tell us briefly about a couple of the characters in the book?
We have one of my favorite characters is Jesus. Jesus is a documented citizen of the United States, and yet he's treated as an undocumented immigrant. He has conflict with his father, who is undocumented and who comes into the country over the border every season, married to another person in Mexico and has a family. And this person, his father, Alfredo, is looking for a green card because his mother is a U.S. citizen. He's looking for a green card. And when we get to Hidden Truths, I love it because I say I have a Hispanic antagonist in that particular book because he finally gets caught in the act. But what it shows, the reason I like this, because I am a firm supporter of a pathway to immigration, a firm supporter of DACA. And because of that, I look at the way that Hispanics, the way that Mexicans are treated in this country. And Jesus exemplifies that as he gets a scholarship to Columbia University on merit. As he moves up in the company on merit, he's still identified in many people's eyes as undocumented. I love that particular character because he shows so many different things.
So what's your motivation for writing?
My motivation for writing is to let every child know that they are included in the book. In this particular book, we have a new character in Become Change Agents. We have a character in the book because he was in the first original family, but now he's of age. And he comes out to say that he is gay. And because he's gay, it was a shock to me, and it was a shock to the reading audience that's been following this series. That's what I want. I want for all children to have their voice. And so that's why the characters are diverse. That's why the characters have various different issues. And that's why the characters are always proud of their heritage.
So as an African-American writer, do you feel limited to African-American characters?
No, I don't live in a box. And although when the world sees me, they see an African American, one side of my heritage is my great grandmother who is white. On my other side of my heritage, I have a Jewish great great grandmother. So what I am limited by, not by race, but I am limited by my Christianity. And I say that because I questioned one of the pots because my race got in the way. And it was explained to me by God that it's not about the race, it's about the plot. And I did not want to portray the African American family as having a child that did an overdose. The mother was taking pills, she was a nurse, and there's a high rate of misuse of drugs with nurses, and they seek help and they go to counseling. But that's when I say it, whatever is given to me to write, that is what I write. And I don't question the plot or the race or the character that is given.
You're a writer that's politically active. How does that aspect of your life affect your plots?
It was very difficult in the Make Change Agents. And the reason it was is because although I am an issue voter, I vote by issue. I have voted for Republican and Democrat. Unfortunately, with this particular race, it is so critical that we make our choices to define the next generation. And so when I laid out in the battle, the Republican side, the Democrat side, the independent side, the issues, so that young people could look at the issues that affect their future, it was sometimes very difficult for me to write that, honestly. And as it is, I'm working on the Poor People's March, and it's difficult in registering voters not to try to sway them with my debate. So that's how politics affects this particular book. It affects my life.
So in your opinion, who should buy your book?
I think that all teenagers should buy this book. But because teenagers are not as ready to buy, I think that educators should buy the book. Colleges should buy the book. Churches should buy the book. And parents, and mostly parents who have been affected by domestic violence or alcoholism or child molestation or the pandemic or anti-Semitism, they should read the book or buy the book for their grandkids, for their children, so that they are not dealing with those same issues when they become senior citizens. Let their voice be heard. Let them know that you hear their voice. Let them know that you're there to discuss it. Let's not keep PTSD minutes all the way to 60 years old. Let's deal with the issues now. Let's let our people know, our kids know, they can define their future. It's up to them.
Do you have a website?
I do. The website is www.claudettemilner.com. It is being updated, so I have a special way to get in, but it will be live again on the 10th.
Well, it's been just great. Our guest today has been Claudette Milner, and she is the author of Children of Plains Estates, Become Change Agents, Volume 8. Claudette, thanks very much for being with us today.
Thank you.
This is Don McCauley wrapping up another edition of The Author Show. Go out there, buy the book today, and please share this interview with your friends so that they too have the opportunity to discover our guests and their work. The Author Show can be accessed at any time at theauthorshow.com, and for easy access to the show on your mobile devices, just download our app in the App Store or Google Play Store or through the QR code on our website. And whether you're an author who would like to be featured or a reader in search of new books to read, The Author Show is a great place to start. Check us daily as we continue to introduce wonderful authors of very interesting books on The Author Show.
Thanks for listening to The Author Show. Find out more about authors and their work at theauthorshow.com. Theauthorshow.com. Tune in next time to another great author on The Author Show.